Before you sleep tonight, stop for one moment and look at your bed like you are seeing it for the first time, not as furniture, not as a habit, not as the place where you drop at the end of a long day. Look at it closely because something very common may be sitting there right now and it could be quietly working against your peace. This is not about fear. It is about awareness. It is about what happens when the place made for rest slowly becomes a place that still carries noise, pressure, and the weight of the outside world. And what makes this serious is how normal it all seems. Most people never question it. Most people never notice it, but once you see it, you will not be able to ignore it again. So stay with me because what I'm about to say may sound simple, but simple things often carry deep truth. And before this is over, you may change one small habit tonight that starts changing your sleep, your mind, your room, and even the way your mornings feel. Do not click away because the next few minutes may explain why your body is tired, but your spirit still feels like it never really sat down. Some people have prayed with all their heart, asked for peace again and again, and still wake up feeling heavy, confused, restless, and strangely drained. They sleep, but they do not feel restored. They close their eyes, but their mind never truly settles. And many times they think the problem is only stress, only work, only life, only pressure from the day. Sometimes that is true, but sometimes there is another layer that gets ignored because it looks too ordinary to matter. The truth is, your bedroom is not just a room. Your bed is not just a soft place to lay your body. It is the place where your defenses drop. It is where the noise of the day either leaves you or stays with you. It is where your breathing slows down, your thoughts rise to the surface, your hidden tension starts speaking, and your inner world becomes more open than you realize. That means the atmosphere of that space matters. What enters that space matters. What remains in that space matters. And yes, what you place on your bed matters. Stay with me here because this is where many people miss it. They protect their schedule, they protect their money, they protect their image, but they do not protect the very place where they are supposed to recover. And when recovery is not protected, even sleep can feel weak. Think about the last time you woke up truly refreshed, not dragged out of bed by an alarm, not barely moving through the morning with coffee and force. I mean, deeply refreshed, clear in your mind, light in your chest, calm in your thoughts, peaceful before the day even started asking anything from you. For some people, that feeling is rare now. For others, it has been gone so long they almost forgot what it feels like. That is not small because deep rest was never meant to be a rare gift that only visits sometimes. It was meant to be a normal part of life. Real rest restores more than the body. It steadies the mind. It softens the heart. It clears the inner noise. It helps you wake up with strength instead of strain, focus instead of fog, and calm instead of pressure. That is why anything that keeps disturbing rest should not be treated like a tiny issue. A lot is lost in quiet neglect, not in loud disasters, not in dramatic breakdowns, but in repeated small habits, in careless routines, in familiar actions that never get questioned. That is how peace slowly gets pushed out, not all at once, bit by bit, quietly. And if you do not pay attention, you start living with heaviness so long that it begins to feel normal. Listen carefully, because what feels normal is not always healthy, and what is familiar is not always harmless. There is an unseen side to daily life that people often ignore until they feel desperate. You can enter one room and feel peace without anyone saying a word. You can enter another room and feel tension even when everything looks fine. Atmosphere is real. The emotional weight of a space is real. The tone of a room is built by repeated habits, repeated moods, repeated choices, and repeated things that are allowed to stay there. That is why carelessness becomes expensive. A person can do many good things and still overlook the quiet pattern that keeps draining them. They may search for answers in big spiritual moments while ignoring the small opening sitting right beside the pillow. And this is important, so do not miss it. Not every battle begins with something dramatic. Some battles begin with routine, with familiarity, with something so common nobody thinks to examine it anymore. That is why people can pray hard in public and still leave private spaces unguarded. They can speak faith during the day and still carry confusion into the room at night. This is not about superstition. It is not about panic. It is about wisdom. It is about learning to ask simple but serious questions. What am I bringing into the place where I am supposed to recover? What am I laying next to the space where my thoughts are meant to settle? What am I allowing to sit on the surface where peace should be waiting for me? Keep listening because the answer is very close and it may already be part of your nightly routine. Here is the plain truth. Many people keep placing the pressure of the whole day directly on the bed and then wonder why the room never fully settles. Shoes, outside clothes, bags, wallets, keys, phones. These things seem harmless because they are part of normal life. You touch them every day. You move with them all day. You stop thinking about them. But that is exactly why they become easy to overlook. Think about where these items go with you. Shoes walk through crowded places, tense places, dirty places, rushed places. Outside clothes carry sweat, stress, long hours, other people's energy, and the atmosphere of every place you entered. Bags and wallets move through buying, selling, pressure, planning, surviving, and constant concern. Keys carry movement, rushing, getting in, getting out, never fully slowing down. And the phone carries even more. It carries noise. It carries bad news. It carries arguments. It carries endless voices. It carries comparison, temptation, fear, unfinished business, endless scrolling, and the pressure to stay alert even when the day is supposed to be over. So ask yourself honestly, why would all of that be placed on the very space where peace is supposed to cover you? Why would the objects that move through confusion all day be invited to sit where your mind is meant to breathe, your body is meant to release, and your inner world is meant to become still? That question matters more than most people realize. When shoes land on the bed, people call it convenience. When outside clothes are thrown across the blanket or pillow, they call it habit. When a wallet, purse, or bag is dropped there, it feels normal. When a phone stays on the bed, under the pillow, or charging beside your arm, it feels almost automatic. But the deeper message of those actions is bigger than the action itself. You are bringing the outside world into the place meant for renewal. You are placing the remains of the day right where rest is supposed to begin. You are letting survival, urgency, movement, and noise sit in the place designed for stillness. And the phone is especially powerful in this pattern. Even when silent, it still pulls on the mind. It glows with unfinished things. It keeps part of your attention turned outward. It teaches your nervous system to stay half ready, half awake, half listening for the next sound, the next message, the next update, the next reason to feel pulled away from peace. That is why some people sleep with exhaustion but not with rest. Their body lies down, but their mind stays standing. Their room is dark, but their inner world is still lit up by everything they carried in. If this feels sharp, let it be sharp. Truth can cut before it heals. But healing begins when you finally see what has been hiding in plain sight. And if this is already speaking to you, stay to the end, because the shift is simple, powerful, and something you can begin tonight. A room can look clean and still feel crowded. The sheets can be fresh, the pillows can be arranged, the bed can be made beautifully, and yet the atmosphere can still feel heavy because peace is not only about appearance, it is also about what is allowed to remain. It is about what follows you into the night. Many people have never stopped to pray over their sleeping space. They pray over meals, they pray over work, they pray in hard times, but they do not stop and ask, what kind of atmosphere is building where I sleep? Is this room helping my peace or slowly draining it? Is my bed a place of release or has it become a shelf for the residue of the day? These are not small questions. They lead to real patterns: restless sleep, heavy mornings, strange dreams, mental noise, tension with no clear reason, a feeling that the room is full even when it looks neat. If that has been your experience, do not ignore it, but do not make it complicated either. Sometimes the answer begins with quiet obedience. Remove what does not belong. Stop laying the outside world on your place of rest. Let your bed become what it was meant to be again: not a dumping place, not a charging station for anxiety, not storage for movement and pressure, but a clear space, a quiet space. A space that tells your body, your mind, and your spirit that the day is over now. That signal matters. Repeated nightly, it becomes powerful. Tonight, do something different. Slow the room down on purpose. Take the shoes off and keep them off the bed. Change the outside clothes and put them where they belong. Move the wallet, purse, bag, and keys somewhere else. Take the phone off the bed completely. Better yet, place it far enough away that your hand cannot reach it without effort. Create a little distance between you and the whole world for a few hours. Let the bed be only for rest, quiet, peace, and recovery. That sounds small, but small actions repeated daily can reshape the atmosphere of a whole room. You are sending a message with those actions. You are saying this place is set apart. This place will not carry the noise of the street, the office, the pressure, the headlines, the unfinished conversations, the endless urgency, the chasing, the fear, and the tension of the day. Words matter, yes, but habits speak too. Repeated actions become the language of the room. So let your room start speaking peace. Let it say safety. Let it say stillness. Let it say enough for today. Let it say you do not need to keep performing here. You do not need more chaos in the very place where you are trying to recover from chaos. You do not need the pressure of the day touching your pillow. You do not need every burden sitting where your mind should be releasing control. If this part is landing with you, do not just agree with it, act on it, because what you repeat becomes what shapes you. And let me add something deeper. What you do in the final minutes before sleep often sets the tone for the whole night. If your last moments are filled with scrolling, bad news, arguments, tension, bright screens, mental overload, or a flood of unfinished thoughts, then even a soft bed may not feel like peace. Your body can lie down while your inner world keeps running. So create a different landing. Let the room get quiet on purpose. Sit for a minute. Breathe slower. Release the day instead of replaying it. Speak peace over the room if you want to. Lower the noise before you lower your head. Do not carry every unfinished thought into bed like luggage you were never meant to hold all night. Set it down. The morning will need your strength, so the night should not steal it. This is how rest begins to become deep again, not only by sleeping longer, but by entering sleep differently, with less clutter, less urgency, less attachment to everything that already happened. And if you have treated your bed like a drop zone for years, do not feel condemned. Just begin again, quietly, consistently. No drama needed, no perfect system required, just a new awareness that leads to a new pattern. And stay with me here, because this next part matters. Breakthroughs are not always born from giant public moments. Sometimes they begin when one private pattern finally gets interrupted and a room starts feeling different again. Maybe the heaviness in your nights did not come from one single event. Maybe it built slowly through stress, through clutter, through noise, through exhaustion, through always being connected, through mixing burden with rest until your body forgot how to fully let go. If that is true, then restoration may also come slowly, but powerfully. Through steady choices, through gentle boundaries, through repeated small acts of wisdom. Guard the room, protect the atmosphere, respect the place where you sleep. Turn down what is loud, remove what is loaded, make the room less crowded, not only in a physical way, but mentally and emotionally too. Do not do it once because this message moved you for a moment. Do it until it becomes your new normal. That is how peace grows roots, not through one emotional night, but through consistent practice. And this is important. This is not about trying to be perfect, it is about making room. Room for calm, room for deep rest, room for clear thoughts, room for gentler mornings, room for your soul to stop gripping everything so tightly. There is strength in becoming intentional again. Not loud, not dramatic, just awake, just aware, just no longer careless with the spaces that shape everyday life. You do not need permission to begin. You do not need a special season. You do not need to wait for the perfect week. You can start tonight. And sometimes that first quiet decision becomes the beginning of a much larger change than you expected. Imagine what happens when the room that used to hold tension starts holding stillness instead. Imagine what happens when the place that carried distraction starts carrying peace. Imagine lying down and not feeling chased by your own thoughts from the first second. Imagine waking up and noticing that your first feeling is not pressure but calm. Your breathing feels easier. Your your mind feels clearer. Your chest feels lighter. That kind of shift reaches into the whole day. It changes how you respond. It changes how you speak. It changes how you think when problems appear. Rest touches everything. That is why protecting it matters so much. And that is why this message matters. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is close, hidden in ordinary behavior, woven into routines that many people never question. Once you question it, once you notice it, once you change it, you may discover that what felt blocked was not always far away. Sometimes the door begins to open when the room changes first. Watch your habits. They reveal more than you think. The bed should not be carrying shoes, outside clothes, bags, wallets, keys, and the glowing noise of a phone that never truly rests. Let it become simple again. Let it become clear in purpose, not only clean in appearance. And if you are still with me, do not miss this final stretch because what happens next is where the message becomes action, and action is where things begin to shift for real. So tonight, when the room gets quiet, let your bed stop being a storage place for the day's residue. Let it stop hosting things that belong to movement, pressure, urgency, and noise. Let it become a place with one clear purpose: rest, recovery, peace, intention. Lie down with a different mindset. Say in your own simple way, this space is for peace. This space is for rest. This space will not carry the pressure of the world tonight. Then stay with that decision. Watch what lifts over time. Watch what softens. Watch how your thoughts begin to change when your nights begin to change. Watch how your mornings start feeling less heavy. Watch how clarity returns in quiet but undeniable ways. And if this message is speaking directly to your life, do not brush it off tomorrow. Small wisdom ignored becomes another missed chance. Small wisdom followed becomes a turning point. You were not meant to live every day tired in your soul. You were not meant to treat deep rest like a rare luxury. Sometimes peace must be protected. Sometimes rest must be honored. Sometimes the first step is almost shockingly simple. Remove what never belonged on the bed in the first place, and then do it again tomorrow and again the next night until your room begins to feel different, your sleep begins to feel deeper, and your heart begins to understand that night is no longer another battleground. It is a place where you are allowed to let go. And one more thing before you close this and move on. Do not underestimate the power of the atmosphere you create with repeated choices. A bed is never just a bed when it becomes the place where you empty your mind, calm your body, and reset your inner world. Every night, you are teaching yourself something. Either you are teaching yourself to stay attached to the day, or you are teaching yourself to release it. Either you are telling your mind to remain alert, or you are giving it permission to be still. Either you are blending burden with rest, or you are separating them with wisdom. That is why this matters. Not because objects have magic, but because habits carry messages, and messages shape moods, and moods shape atmosphere, and atmosphere shapes the quality of your rest. So be intentional. Let the bed be clear. Let the room breathe. Let the final moments before sleep become slower, quieter, and more peaceful. Put away what belongs to the outside world. Put away what keeps your thoughts racing. Put away what pulls your attention outward. Then let your room say what your soul has been needing to hear for a long time now. You are safe enough to rest. You are allowed to stop. You do not have to carry everything through the night. And if you make that shift and stay consistent with it, you may find that what felt blocked begins to move, what felt heavy begins to loosen, and what felt far away begins to come closer, one peaceful night at a time.